Good evening, everybody. And I'm kind of half terrified tonight because although I've been hearing child ballads right down through the 1960s, 70s, 80s, here, there and everywhere, I haven't really set about learning that many of them. And in fact, I was singing child ballads before I ever heard of Child, and so was thousands of other people, of course. But the one I'm going to start off with was a song I heard back in the 1950s, actually, I think. And it was a song that was on a record by Dolly McMahon. And I never learned it around then, but I'd heard it a few times. I have the record still, in fact. It must be worth money by now. And when I went to England in the 60s, then I came across some tapes a friend gave to me. And Elizabeth Cronin from Macroom was singing on these tapes. And one of the songs she sang was Lord Gregory. And it was off that particular tape that I learned this version. It's an incomplete version, I think. I dropped two verses out of it that didn't seem to me to belong to the story. And if you were to sing them, they'd only mix up the story actually. So, but if you look at the child ballads, of course, you'll find that there's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, maybe in some cases 14 verses of songs. So it's understandable how they could get mixed up in any case. And so this is Lord Gregory, and the storyline is that a lady with a child, a baby, comes to Lord Gregory's castle and knocks on his door and his windows and is asking to see him. And his mother answers her through the window, the open window, and tells her that Lord Gregory isn't there, that he's gone to bonny Scotland to bring home his new queen, and that she then advises the young girl that she should go away and shamefully drown herself in the ocean. Very nice thing indeed, very nice woman. So this is Lord Gregory, Elizabeth Cronin's version. Child ballad number, better say this, or number 76. Okay. I am a king's daughter that's straight from Cappoquin, in search of Lord Gregory. Oh God, may I find him. The rain beats at my yellow locks, and the dew wets me still. The babe's cold in my arms, Lord Gregory, let me in. Lord Gregory's not here, and henceforth can't be seen. He has gone to bonny Scotland to bring home his new queen. So leave now these windows, and likewise this hall, for it's down in the ocean you must hide your downfall. Do you remember, Lord Gregory, that night in Cappoquin, when we exchanged pocket handkerchiefs, and that against my will? Yours was fine linen glove, and mine was but coarse cloth. Yours cost 1 guinea, love, and mine about 1 groat. Do you remember, Lord Gregory, that night in Cappoquin, when we exchanged rings on our fingers, and that against my will. For yours was fine silver love, and mine was but black tin. Yours cost 10 guineas, love, and mine but 10 cents. Do you remember, Lord Gregory, that night in my father's hall, when you stole away my fond heart, and that was worst of all? Oh, leave now these windows, and likewise this hall, for as deep in the ocean you must hide your downfall. Oh, my curse on you, mother, and my curse at being sore. Sure I dreamt the lass of arms was knocking at our door. Lie down, my foolish son, oh, lie down and take your sleep, for it's far away our yellow locks are waving in the deep. Come, saddle me the black horse, the brown or the bay. Come, saddle me the best horse in my stable this day. And I'll range over mountains and the valleys so deep, and I'll find the lass of arms and lie down by her side. That's Lord Gregory. Thank you very much. You already know Aileen, but I'm going to introduce her. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Aileen.
In 2009, I began a project with a group of teenage traveller girls in Timon. It turned out that about 10 of the dozen in the group were grandnieces of a Mary McGrath, who was a traveller woman from Bridgetown who was recorded by Tom Munnelly singing this next song. It's on a CD which I have mentioned in the programme notes. It's available on that if anybody's interested. But they were very keen to hear it because they knew of their grand aunt and how that she was a fine singer, but had heard very little of her singing or of her songs even, because her brother, whose daughter was the youth leader of the group, didn't like to hear them because, of course, he had a very personal association with this song and with those songs, and obviously the loss of his sister overrode any feeling he had for the song, you know. But it was nice to get that song in circulation among that community again, which I may have done by leaving my copy of the CD with them for long enough for them to burn, God knows, countless numbers of copies around them. So I may have inadvertently been responsible for some illegal recording, but if it's to go back to that community, where else should that song be? So, but anyway, I'm going to sing it now. It's a song called Johnny Barden. It's child number 100, and it's a version of Willie O'Winsbury. This one time, it's not so much the mother-in-law we had here. It's the father. It's a disapproving father who doesn't approve of his daughter's lover because she's fallen pregnant. That is, he doesn't approve of him until he gets a look at him, because he's a fine-looking man who's described in the song, and he makes a very unlikely and unusual declaration as to when he sees what this man looks like. So you'll hear that, I hope, in the song. Yeah. Well, there been a red squire up in Edinburgh town, and a very red squire was he. He reared one comely daughter again, and a very fine girl was she. Was she, and a very fine girl was she. She was gazing out o'er her father's castle walls for to watch those ships sail by. Oh, have you some heavy sickness, she says, or in love with some young man? Young man, or in love with some young man? No, I have no heavy sickness, she says, but I'm in love with some young man. But there's one more thing, a trouble to me mind. Me love is staying too long. Too long, my love is staying too long. Well, is he a lord, or is he a squire, or is he a man of fame? Or is he one of our own seamen that ploughs the raging main? Raging main, that ploughs the raging main. No, he's no lord, and he's no squire, and he's no man of fame, for he is one of our own seamen, Johnny Barden, it is his name. His name, Johnny Barden, it is his name. Well, tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, it is hanged Johnny Barden will be. Oh, father dear, if you hang Johnny Barnes, he'll get no good of me. Of me, you'll get no good of me. Well, he called on his merry men by 1 and 2, 1 and 2 and 3, expecting Barden to be the last man, but the very first man was he. Was he, but the very first man was he. On he came a-tripping down the stairs, dressed in a suit of silk, his 2 dark eyes and his curly hair, and his skin was as white as milk, and his skin was as white as milk. Well, is this Johnny Barden, daughter, he said, if it is, I don't blame you at all. For if I was a woman, as I am a man, 'tis in love with Johnny Barden I'd fall. In love, 'tis in love with Johnny Barden I'd fall. Oh, are you lord, or are you a squire, or are you a man of fame? Sure, I'm the owner of bonny Scotland, Johnny Barden, it is my name. Hello, Johnny Barden, it is my name. Will you marry my daughter, Johnny Barden, he says, will you take her by the hand? Will you sit to the table and dine with me, and be heir to all my land? My land, and be heir to all my land. I will marry your daughter, Johnny Barden said, I'll take her by the hand. I will sit to the table and dine with you, but to hell with all your land. Your land, but to hell with all your land. Well, the bonny bells of Scotland will ring, and they'll ring so merrily, for to welcome home Johnny Barden and his wife back to their own country. back home, back to their own country. The next song, it's another man's name, it's Jimmy Whalen. And it's a version of the Unquiet Grave, which Rosie Stewart sang here at last week's concert. But it's a very much a variant, and it's found, many versions of it then have been found and collected in Newfoundland, actually, which is where I learned this from the singing of Tommy Namek. So just excuse me, I get another drink.
That's great.
Sadly I rambled by the banks of a river, viewing the sunbeams as evening grew nigh, and as onward I rambled, I spied a fair damsel. She was weeping and wailing with many's a sigh. She was weeping for one who is now gone forever, weeping for one who was modest and brave, while the dark rolling waters roll swiftly all around him, that rises and falls over young Jimmy's grave. Jimmy, my dear, won't you come to my arms? Come to my arms once more, love so true. You promised you would meet me this evening, my darling, and give me sweet kisses which you oftentimes gave. Slowly he rose from the depths of the ocean, rising in beauty as bright as the sun, while a dark rose of crimson shone brightly all around him. To speak with this fair maid, 'twas soon he began. He says, why did you call me from the realm of glory back to this earth which I now have to leave? The last one I called on was God and you, darling. When death struck me down to a cold, silent grave, one more embrace, love, and then I must leave you. One more embrace, love, and then we must part. Cold the bosom that he pressed to her heart. She threw herself down, and on the banks she wept sorely, weeping and wailing like one in despair, saying, "Why did you leave me, my own Jimmy Whalen? I will cry till I die by the side of your grave."
I'm going to sing a song. It's a type of ballad that's known as a riddle ballad, and it usually takes the form of a man and a woman meeting, and the man telling the lady that he desires her very much and that he would like to sleep with her tonight, or any night, I suppose. And she comes back to him and says that it's only possible if you can answer me these complicated riddles that I set for you. This one is called Captain Wedderburn's Courtship, Scots ballad. And I've heard versions here and there around the place. Peggy Seeger from America used to sing a beautiful West Virginian version of it, with the frailing banjo and the rhythmic playing and everything like that. And it was called The Devil's 9 Questions, it was called. Very, very fast and furious ballad, beautiful thing. And so I'm going to sing you this one. I can't actually remember where I got this from, except that I did hear it on a tape sometime. But since I came back to Ireland from England in 1970, I heard it several times from Irish singers. So it must be popular all over this country, I'd imagine. And the air they use for it here in this country is the air of that song called Fare Thee Well in the Skillen. You know the one, Fare Thee Well. So here's Captain Wedderburn's Courtship. And it's number 4-6 in volume 5, sorry. Now, Captain Wedderburn's Courtship. A gentleman's fair daughter walked down a narrow lane. I'll take it down a bit. A gentleman's fair daughter walked down a narrow lane, meeting with young Wedderburn, the keeper of the game. Says he unto this fair maid, if it was not for the law, it's you and I in the one bed lie, and you lie next the wall. And it's go away, young man, says she, and do not me perplex. Before I stay one night with you, you must answer me question 6. 6 questions you will answer, and I'll set forth them all before I leave my mammy's place or leave my father's hall. What is rounder than a ring? What's higher than a tree? What is worse than woman's curse? What's deeper than the sea? What tree buds first? What bird sings best? Where does the dew first fall? You'll answer me these questions ere I leave my father's hall. The globe is rounder than a ring, heaven's higher than a tree. The devil is worse than woman's curse, and hell's deeper than the sea. The ewe bolts first, the thrush sings best, on earth did you first fall. Now I've answered all your questions, you must leave your father's hall. And it's go away, young man, says she, and do not trouble me. Before I stay one night with you, you must answer questions three. 3 questions you will answer, and I'll set forth them all before I sleep with you tonight and leave my father's hall. You must get me for my breakfast a cherry without a stone. You must get me for my dinner a bird without a bone. And for my supper you must find a bird without a ball. You will answer me these questions ere I leave my father's hall. Well, the cherry, when it's in blossom, I'm sure it has no stone. The chicken, when it's in the egg, I'm sure it has no bone. The dove, she is a gentle bird, and she flies without a ball. Now I've answered all your questions, and you leave your father's hall. This couple, they are married now, I hear the people say. This couple, they are married now, and right well they do agree. He being a clever young man, he's answered questions all, and they are now happily living all in this young man's hall. Captain Wedderburn. I suppose to get the true atmosphere of the child songs, you'd really have to have either an English accent or a Scots accent. And then you get the 100% effect of it. There's a lot of Scots words in these songs, but because we sing them in Ireland, of course we don't use them. So I'm going to have a crack at using the Scots in a beautiful song. I love this one. It's a shortish song, and it's called the Twa Corbies. In the child volumes, it's referred to as the 3 ravens, but the Twa Corbies is how it's popularly known. It's a conversation between 2 ravens sitting high up on a tree and wondering where they're going to get their dinner from. And one raven tells the other one that he has observed the body of a dead knight lying in behind a stone wall, and that's where they're going to dine tonight. It's a lovely song. I'm going to sing a lot of the Scots words in these. The papers that were left on your seats there, I explained them all. You probably didn't get enough chance, but you can have a look at them after a while. So, go back. yeah. I have a habit of creeping up in the audience. So here's the talk hobbies. As I was walking all alone, I heard twa corbies making a main. I have to take it down again, I'm sorry. As I was a-walking all alone, I heard twa corbies making a main. The ane unto the thither say, oh, where will we gang and dine the day? Oh, where will we gang and dine the day? In behind yon old fail dyke, I wot there lies a new slain knight, and naebody kens that he is there, oh, but his hawk is hound and his lady fair, oh, his hawk is hound and his lady fair. His hound is tae the hunting gain, his hawk tae bring the wild fowl hame, his lady's tae another mate, oh, so we can mak our dinner sweet, oh, we can mak our dinner sweet. If he'll sit on his white neck bane, and I'll pluck out his bonny blue ane, and we'll lock of his golden hair, oh, we'll thatch our nest when it grows bare, oh, we'll thatch our nest when it gets bare. Money's the one for him Max Main, but naebody kens where he is gane, and our his banes when they grow bare, oh, the wind shall blow forevermore, oh, the wind shall blow forevermore. Twa corbies. Number 26. Thank you.
Yeah, Lord Levitt, number. For those who like to know the numbers among you. Yeah, it's number 75. There's quite a well-known version of it in this country that's sung by Rita and Sarah Kane, which I was quite familiar with, having heard it, I don't know, maybe about 10 years ago for the first time, and I always thought I'd like to learn it. And I thought this might be an opportunity then when this project came along to learn that song. But when I started looking into it, I heard tell of Nora Cleary's version of it, which was to another air. And actually Brigid Tunney sang the version I just spoke of in the concert, was that 2 weeks ago. So if you may well have heard that version, Lord and Eagle. But this is Nora Cleary's version in that it's totally from her air. I did reconstruct some of the lyrics though, because really just to try and tell the story in a simple way, because as is the case with the child ballads, there's so many versions and sometimes things get misheard or patched up a little bit, and I've done a bit of patching. Whether I've done a better job than anybody else or not, I'm not sure, but this is what I've put to it, anyway. So Lord Levitt, yeah. Lord Levitt, he stood at his own stable door, and he mounted his snow Lady Anne's sweet bell stood by his side for to bid him his last Godspeed. Where are you going, Lord Levitt? She said. Oh, and where are you going from me? I am going away across the sea. Strange countries I'd like to see. How long will you be, Lord Levitt? She said. And how long will you be from me? All for the sake of 3 long years. Lady Anne, sweet bell, said he. That is too long for 2 lovers to part. And that is too long for me, for you might forget your Queen and Belle and go off with some other lady. He was not gone but a very short time, a day and a half, a year, when sorrow and sadness came into his mind. In vain he thought of his dear. Lord Levitt, he mounted his snow-white steed, and he rode to St. Mary's Square. It was there he heard the sound of a bell, and the people mourning there. Alas, alas, an old man cried, the king's only daughter is dead, and she died for the sake of a noble young man. Lord Levitt, it was his name. Will you open the coffin, kind sir? He said. Will you open the coffin for me? For I never will sleep but 3 nights of my life, if I see that she died for me. Stand back, fair ladies, he said, and let the cold breeze to thee. It was then he kissed her pale cold lips, as the tears rolled down his cheeks. I will never kiss any but thine. One of them died as if unto day, and another as if unto morrow, and out of one grave there grew a red rose, and out of the other a briar. They grew for 7 long years, till they couldn't grow any higher. They grew to a true lover's knot, for all of the world to admire. And in fact, that was a slightly different version to any I've ever sung before. Anyway. We don't have a Christmas song tonight, but I do have a song about a man coming down a chimney. So that's about as close as we can get, I think. This song it's the keech in the creel. It's the keech in the creel. Or I just have it as the creel, and the creel is a basket for carrying fish, but it's put to different use in this song, as I've just mentioned, coming down the chimney. So it's the story of a young man and a young woman trying to get together in her house, and the parents are in the house. The wife thinks she hears something going on, so she sends the husband up, not too happy to get out of bed. When he comes back and reports that he saw nothing going on, he curses the wife and says, "The devil may take you." So that's why at the end of it, she curses him, because she finds herself thinking that she is being taken by the devil. So hopefully that'll make the song a little bit clearer. So I hope this is going to be a version I've heard before. As I roved out on a May morning, some fresh fish for to buy, I spied a maid and a comely maid, and on her I threw my eye, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. Oh, how can I get to your chamber, love? How can I get to your bed? Well, me father, he locks the door at night, and the key lies under his head. Go and get a ladder gently made of 30 steps and 3, and put it up to the chimney top, and come down in a creel to me, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. So he got a ladder gently made of 30 steps and 3, and put it up to the chimney top, and came down in a creel to she. But the owl, when she been still awake, heard something that was said. I lay me life, said the silly owl wife, there's a man with me daughter in bed, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. So up the stairs the owl man went, into the room went he. Silence reigned where the daughter slept, and he never tweaked the creel. Ah, curse upon you, father, what brought you up so soon, to put me through me just lying down with me, idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. Oh, may the devil take you, you silly old wife, a hard death may you die, for she has the good book in her hands and she's praying for you and I. But no peace nor ease could that old wife get till she would rise and see. But she came upon the stumbling block and into the creel when she singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. Well, the man up on the chimney top, he gave the creel a haul, and 11 of the owls' ribs were broke, and her backside came to the wall. Oh, a curse upon you, you silly old man, and ill death may you die, for you prayed for the devil to sweep me, and he swept me chimney high, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee. Oh, here's to the blue and the true, true blue, and the blue that I like well. And if any ill haggard begrudge me her daughter, I'd rock her in a creel to hell, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee, singing idle-deedle-dare-o, idle-deedle-day, idle-deedle-dare-o-dee.
The Dowie Dens of Yarrow is an unusual kind of a story, really. It's about a lady who is being courted by 9 gentlemen and a ploughboy as well. So she's having a great old time in Bonnie, Scotland many years ago. And the nine knights get together and saying that they're not going to put up with this commoner getting in to the scene, and they decide they'll do battle with him. And this is the story of the Dowie Dens of Yarrow. Very popular in England, this song. And the man I think I first heard sing it was Ewan McCall, the late Ewan McCall, I should say. And he used to make a superb job of this. Okay, here we go. There was a lady in the north, too high. There was a lady in the north. I ne'er could find. It's still too high. There's quite a range in this, so down she goes again. There was a lady in the north. I ne'er could find her marrow. She was courted by 9 gentlemen and a ploughboy lad frae Yarrow. These 9 sat drinking at the wine, sat drinking wine at Yarrow. They made a vow among them all that they would fight in Yarrow. She kissed his face, she combed his hair, as she had done before. Oh, she belted on his brand of steel, and he's a walked a Yarrow. As he walked up yon high, high hill, and down by the hums of Yarrow, it was there he spied 9 armed men, come fae feck wi him in Yarrow. and 3 he slew, and 3 they flew, and 3 he wounded sairly, till her brother John came in frae beyond, and laid him low in Yarrow. Oh, Father dear, I dreamed a dream of dool and sorrow. I dreamed I was pooing the heather bells on the dowie dens of Yarrow. Oh, doctor dear, I read your dream. I feel it will bring sorrow, for your bonny lad lies pale and wan on the dowie dens of Yarrow. Oh, doctor dear, why all this grief? Why all this grief and sorrow? For I can wed ye to the finest knight that you'll ever meet in Yarrow. Oh, hold your tongue, my father dear. Speak not to me of sorrow, for the fairest flower among them all has died today in Yarrow. She come as she was walking up yon high hill, and down by the homes of Yarrow. It was there she espied her own true love, lying pale and wan in Yarrow. She combed his hair, she kissed his lips, as she had done before. Oh, she dried the blood that trickled down on the bonny grass at Yarrow. Her hair, it being 3/4 long, the colour it was yellow. She had wrapped it round his middle sae small, and she's bore him down frae Yarrow. Honey, sorry, Duncan. I heard somebody laughing there a while ago. Now, I'm going to finish my solos with a one that I've learned lately. And it's a song of piracy. The story is about 3 Scottish brothers who are feeling the pinch, and they cast lots to see which brother will go on the high sea as a pirate and bring back the ill-gotten gains from the whole family. A lovely song, lovely air to it, and it's number 250, volume 4. How about that? Now, here's got you the air of it now. There were 3 brothers. There were 3 brothers in bonny Scotland. In bonny Scotland there were 3. And these 3 brothers, they did cast lots, who'd go sailing upon the salt sea, who'd go robbing all on the salt sea. They built them a ship, and a bonny ship, and a bonny fine ship may she be, with her mainmast of oak and bark on her keel, and her 2 sides were lined with steel, and her 2 sides were lined with steel. The hard lot it fell to Henry Martin, the youngest of these brothers 3. So he went a-robbing all on the salt sea, to maintain his 2 brothers and he, to maintain his 2 brothers and he. He was not sailing for one winter's night before day, when he did spy a lofty tall ship, come a-bearing right down on his lee, come bearing right down on his lee. And it's where you bound for, cried Henry Martin. Where are you bound for, cried he. We're a rich merchant ship bound for London town, and I pray you to let us pass by, and I pray you to let us pass by. Oh no, cried Henry Martin, no, this never can be, since I have turned a pirate upon the salt sea, to maintain my brothers and me, to maintain my brothers and me. So it's broadside to broadside, these ships they did fight, for the space of 2 hours or 3, till Henry Martin gave them a broadside, and down to the bottom went she, and down to the bottom went she. Bad news to fair London town, bad news I surely bring thee, for your ship and your treasure have been plundered at sea, and all of your mariners drowned, and all of your mariners drowned. Thank you.
Number 243, The Banks of the Sweet Vile Dee. This song is much more commonly known as The Demon Lover or The House Carpenter, who are 2 of the characters mentioned in the song. The Banks of the Sweet Vile Dee is the title that Frank Brown from Roscommon sung it. He sung this particular version, but again I've robbed a couple of verses that weren't in his version that are in lots of the others that tell the story, that mention that mention heaven and hell in it. So I've added them into it. Whether they'll be in it now when I sing it or not, we'll see when we get to that point. Yeah, so the house carpenter, I will actually just explain, because I often heard this song, because there's lots of versions have been done by lots of different people, like many of the child ballads. It's a song that hasn't been sung so much in Ireland, but this particular one would have been recorded by lots of Scottish and English and American and Appalachian and lots of different versions by popular musicians, as well as, you know, kind of more traditional solo versions. But the story is that of a demon lover who returns from sea to a woman who seemingly had promised herself to him at some earlier point in time. In other versions, he mentions her former vows. He's come back on account of her former vows that she made to him. And he coaxes her away from her house carpenter, who she's now married to. But there are consequences for leaving her good husband. This was printed actually in a broadside with the title, "A Warning to Married Women." Well met, my own true love. Well met, cried he. I've just returned from the salt sea, and it's all for the love of thee, my love, all for the love of thee. Well, I could have married a great king's daughter and have myself to blame, for it's tons of gold I have refused, and it's all for the love of thee, my love, all for the love of thee. If you could have married a great king's daughter, you have yourself to blame, for I have married a house carpenter, and I think he's a nice young man, said she. I think he's a nice young man. If you do leave your house carpenter and come along with me, I'll take you where the grass grows green, on the banks of the sweet Bildee, my love, on the banks of the sweet Bildee. If I do leave my house carpenter and come along with thee, what have you there to support me with, and keep me from slavery, said she, and keep me from slavery. I have 6 ships now sailing out, and 7 more at sea, 310 old jolly salesmen, and they all for to wait on thee, my love, all for to wait on thee. She dressed her baby neat and clean, and gave him kisses 3, saying, stay, stay here, my darling baby boy, and your father is company, my love, your father is company. She dressed herself in a suit of red, and her maiden's waist was green, and every town that they passed by, they took her to be some queen, my love, they took her to be some queen. We were not 2 days out at sea, and I'm sure we were not 3, when this fair maiden began for to weep, and she wept most bitterly, my love, she wept most bitterly. What hills are those, my love? They look as white as snow. Those are the hills of heaven, my dear, that you and I will never know, my love, that you and I will never know. What hills are those, my love? They look so dark and cold. Those are the hills of heaven, said he, where you and I must go, my love, where you and I must go. We were a curse upon you, all seamen, who brought me out to sea, and deprived me of my house carpenter on the banks of the sweet Baldee, said she, the banks of the sweet Baldee. We were not 3 days out at sea, and I'm sure we were not 4, when this fair maiden disappeared from the deck, and she sank for to rise no more, no more. She sank for to rise no more. I'd just like to say a few thank yous. In fact, I'll start with Tim Lyons. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
I mentioned to Tim earlier. He probably doesn't realise how much I've learned from him over the last couple of years, been involved in a couple of projects.
I send you the bill.
I should have said nothing, kept my mouth shut. We're going to we've just one song left that we're going to attempt to do together. So before we do that, I'd just like to say some thank yous to Mick for devising and delivering the project, to Brigid and all in the library here, to Age and Opportunity and the ICMA, the Arts Council, to the two lads on sound here, Stephen and Shane. As far as you have responsibility for the sounds we make up here, good job, thanks. And my own little team here in charge of giving me the first note and in charge of prompting my lyrics when they go astray.
We can't put them out on there.
So, this song, the Elfin Night, what number is it?
Number two.
Number two.
Yeah, in the top environment.
Yeah.
It has to be. Now we're going to make a kind of duet out of this. So I hope you'll all bear with us, because we haven't rehearsed that many times, because we don't meet that very often. But it's called the Elfin Night, and I've only recently learned it from a tape that Aileen gave me of the late Frank Hart singing this song, and it's the version that we are singing is known as Rosie Stewart. And again, it's a type of riddle song where both man and woman set questions and tasks to each other that can't be done. And that way they make sure that neither of them fall into each other's arms. It's a very strange song in a way. So we'll have a go at it now. Okay, so if you will go down.
I'm
wrong.
Oh yeah, that's you.
Okay, yeah. Probably too high for me. If you will go down to Rosemary Fair, every rose grows merry and fine. You pick me out, the finest girl there, and I will make her a true love of mine. Tell her to send me a cambric shirt. Every rose grows merry and fine, to be made without needle or needle's work, and then she'll be a true lover of mine. Tell her to wash it in yonder well. Every rose grows merry and fine, where water ne'er rose or rain never fell, and then she'll be a true lover of mine. Tell her to dry it on yonder thorn. Every rose grows merry and fine, where nothing e'er grew since Adam was born, and then she'll be a true lover of mine. When she has finished all of her work, every rose grows merry and fine, Tell her I'll call for my cambric shirt, and
then she'll be a true lover of mine. And as you will go down Rosemary Fair, every rose grows merry and fine. Will pick me out then, the finest boy there, and I will make him a true love of mine. And tell him to find me an acre of land, every rose grows merry and fine, between the salt sea and the salt sea sound, and then she'll be a true lover of mine. And tell him to plough it with the ram's horn, every rose grows merry and fine, and sow it all over with one grain of corn, and then he'll be a true lover of mine. And tell him to reap it with the cock's feather, every rose grows merry and fine, and bind it all over with strappings of leather, and then he'll be a true lover of mine. Tell him to bring it home on a snail, every rose grows merry and fine, and thrash it all o'er with a mouse's tail, and then he'll be a true lover of mine. And when he has finished all of his work, every rose grows merry and fine, well, tell him to call for his cambric shirt, and then he'll be a true lover of mine.